Hello chaps and chapesses, and today, on this glorious day, we're going to talk about the new Hardy Ultralite LL series. We're here at the beginning of the trout season, so nearly about to open up on the chalk streams, and I can't tell you how excited I am about this coming season. To that end, I couldn't help myself but maybe get some new rods. I don't need new rods, but I want them, and especially after the incredibly long amount of time that we've all been stuck at home, I thought I deserved them. There are several series of rods that spring to mind over the generations. You know, we had the Sage TCRs, we had the Hardy Pro Axis series. Each one holds a very dear place in people's hearts. And I think that the Hardy Ultralite LL series is going to also hold a very dear place in our hearts. The way that chalk stream fishing has been developing over the years, lighter, faster rods, lighter, slower tip rods. We're all looking for that rod which will probably do a combination of dry fly fishing, but at the same time has a tip which is sensitive enough to be able to be great for modern tight line Euro nymphing techniques. And I think that Howard Croston at Hardy's has developed that rod in the Hardy Ultralite LL. So last season I was fishing with the Ultralite series, which were absolutely magnificent. I mean, I have not fished with such wonderful rods on the river systems so far. But in the LL series, which is this year's update of that, this series of rods has really been tailored for those looking for a real technical element to their river fishing. There's a number of different rods in this category. The two that I have decided to fish with this season is the 9'9" 3-weight, which is pretty much a follow-on from what I was fishing with last season. And then rather than going for, again, the longer 9'9" 4-weight, this year I've gone for a 9'2" 4-weight. 9'2". Why the extra 2 inches? I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to find out though. So this series of rods have really been pulled from the competition circuit for those people looking for that crossover rod, the rod that'll do both jobs, whether you're going to be nymphing or whether you're going to be dry fly fishing. It'll handle both of them equally as well. There are some other rods in the series which are probably tailored far more to very technical Euro nymphing. I'm not at that stage yet, and I certainly don't need them down here on the chalk streams, so I have stuck with the kind of lengths that I've been used to. Ultimately, what they're really going to be good for is fishing lighter tippets. Although they've got the backbone and power in the blank through the Sintrix resin technology that I've come to use right across from freshwater across to saltwater, it's never let me down. But now we have a rod which has got a slightly softer tip, which is going to protect lighter tippet materials. And that's something that as a fisherman I'm trying to develop towards this season. I want to be able to fish those finer tippets, fishing 7X with confidence, to allow nymphs to drop down quickly to fish, and also to have that very light, gentle presentation that I'm looking for on the river. But just because it has a softer tip doesn't mean that it's lacking in backbone. Oh, no, no, no. There is still plenty of guts in these rods to make sure that you can still subdue a big fish when you need to. So before I get into actually pulling these out and putting a line on them, let's go through some of the upgraded features which you're now going to find on this rod compared to the Ultralite series. The first is this extremely attractive black aluminium case. It's the same kind of design, but I do like the black finish. Makes it stand out from the other ones I have. So as always, whenever you unpack one of these, you've got these beautifully machined rod stoppers that stop all the dirt and grit going down into the blank. And those of us who have fished in muddy and dirty conditions or in sandy conditions, thank our lucky stars for these. It's so frustrating when you get sand down the blank and it scrapes on the ferrule. And I just, it makes my teeth grate when that happens. This year it is an extremely attractive bronze color with a carbon fiber detailing at the bottom. We've got up-locking reel seats on these two particular ones, although some of the longer, lower line weight classes have got a down-locking reel seat just to give you that extra balance with the extra length. For the 9 foot and this particular 9'9" 3 weight, they are up-locking, which suits me down to the ground. They have nicely put the line weight on the top of the reel seat, which means at a glance, if you've got a number of these, you know which line weight you're looking at. You've got your standard beautiful floor grade cork on this, which is just silky to the touch, which I do like. And then we have got a little mark here at the 50 centimeter mark, which is to give us that 50 centimeter whip mark for those who are competition fishing. Very quickly, that's the length of the droppers that they can use. And I think the first thing that you notice when you pull this rod out is, unlike most of Hardy's rods, which are super finely ground to an almost ceramic style finish, this rod is not. And there is a reason for that. It has been left unground, but again, still varnished beautifully. And there is a reason behind that, in that when you are Euro nymphing or tight line nymphing, you don't want your leader sticking to the blank with water droplets. And so this ridging prevents that, which just allows you to have a better connection directly to your fly. And the first thing that I noticed pulling this out of the case is that I've still got the titanium recoil rings on here, but the lower guide is now a ceramic lined recoil ring. So it'll still bend, but you have a ceramic line, which means it's going to have very low friction when you're passing a fly line through it. These new Ceracoils are a phenomenal ring. As always, you've got the little pocket to put your rod stoppers in, which is just a nice little touch, a nice little detail, just slightly oozes of quality. And we've still got the spots on the rod blank that allow us to line it up straight away. And I think that was just a fish that took a large dark olive behind me, which has got me absolutely twitching. And there we have the completed rod. Oh, it feels like a wand. Feels like a wand, it does. I must put a line on it immediately. Let's see what happens. There's nothing quite like that feeling of first threading up a brand new rod. The anticipation, what's it going to be like? And there's a fish rising immediately above me. Right, let's see what this feels like. So I've got the Rio tactical trout on here, which is very slick. Oh, that just feels magnificent. Oh, it just feels beautiful. It's like a little wand. It's got a very powerful delivery. Yep, no, I like that an enormous amount. So, starting in close, oh, fish just came clean out of the water down there. Starting in close, it loads up very nicely. That tip is just that little bit more sensitive, I can feel, than the previous one. It just is just like a piece of silk. And delivers the fly straight to target. So short line, I can just pick it up and drop it down, straight in, pick it up, barely makes a ripple on the surface. And if I tighten up the wrist a bit, it'll throw a nice little tight loop. This could just be the one. Another fish in there, just scrumpling through a bunch of, looking for something to eat. Anyway, I must concentrate because I'm not really here to fish. There is very little movement in the tip section as it comes through. The recovery seems to be incredibly quick. It's a much tighter foreweight than using the 9'9". Just feels more precise, which I have to say I like that a lot. And if I want to pick up a load of line, it just shoots it out. I think I'm in love. I think I might be in love. Is it wrong to be in love with a fly rod? Probably. But I think if you're watching this channel, you'll probably know where I'm coming from. So I think I can be forgiven. So yes, that is a really beautiful fly rod. It almost feels effortless. That's beautiful. Got a slight wind coming off behind me. That is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful rod. It's got the power that I want to drive the fly forwards, but at the same time, it's incredibly sensitive. And it just goes. It'll drop that fly exactly where I want it. Got a bit of a crosswind coming through here, which is quite a good way to test it. And it'll still drop that exactly where I want it to go. Beautiful. I am very, very impressed with that. Very impressed. Did I say very impressed? I meant very impressed. It's obviously hard to gauge what this is going to be like throughout an entire season, but my initial thoughts, having just put a line through that, is that's beautiful. I'm really excited to fish with that this season. I think that is going to deliver to me exactly what I've been looking for. I'm going to be able to go down to those nice fine tippet materials. And yeah, I think that's probably all I got to say about that. So let's get the 9'9" 3-weight out and see what that's like. So the 9'9" 3-weight was a rod I found myself using an enormous amount at the end of last year. The extra length really improved, I think, the way that I was handling some of the tightline nymph fishing I was doing. And this is really just a further development of that same rod. So this rod last season was so good, so good. Really sensitive in the tip, and almost allowed me to just feel every single little knock and bump that was coming down that line. So again, from a cosmetics perspective, this is exactly the same as the 9'2" 4-weight. The same unground dark copper finish with the same Cerakoil lower rings, and it just gives you that little bit more length, I can't believe I'm standing here in a t-shirt. It just feels absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to put an ordinary 3-weight dry fly line on this first, just to get a feel for what it feels like. Modern reels are fantastic, but there is something truly magical about the noise of the old classics. God, it's like Christmas all over again. And with the prospect of the fishing season out ahead of us, there's nothing that gets me more excited. So obviously being a 3-weight, I'm expecting a bit of a slower action on this. If you're looking for a distinct dry fly rod, then maybe go for the 4-weight. But for small dry fly fishing, and the main reason that I got this rod for nymph fishing, this is going to be my main nymph rig, I think this is going to fit the bill very nicely. You can just feel the tip, very responsive, delivers the target. It's very silky. As you would expect, a slightly finer presentation to the 4-weight. But again, all I've got to do is twist up my wrist a bit, and that's going to throw a nice tight loop. And there's fish rising in front of me. Ugh. Looks like a large dark olive hatch coming off the bottom of those trees. Fantastic. But it's still got plenty of power in there. I've got no doubt that it'll fight a big fish without any issues whatsoever. With this one, I'm going to quickly whip this line off, and I'm going to put a Euro nymphing rig on and just see how sensitive it feels. Goes rather lovely with this Ultra Click. The balance is just gorgeous. Oh, like it. On this rod, I've got the Rio Competition Euro nymph line, which I really enjoyed using last year when I was getting into my greeling fishing. Seems to be the perfect match. And I've got to admit, I'm old. I know I don't look it, but I am. I'm getting older. And it's taken me quite a long time to come round to longer rods and this modern style of nymph fishing. I'm very behind, I know that, but I have really enjoyed the learning process and getting into this, and having the right gear to make that happen makes a massive difference. Right, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Quite where that expression comes from, I'm not entirely sure, but it sounds brilliant to me. Thank you, Mr. Sheep. The control and the sensitivity I feel with that is superb. Bump, 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 bump. I can just feel it chugging along the bottom. Just watching the tip. Oh, that feels great. Just hoiks them out there. A little bit higher. So that's quite a nice long line it's fishing through there. Ah, the sensitivity is beautiful though. Bump, bump, just feel it just bumping along the bottom. It's exactly where I want it. As this was for demonstration purposes, Ozzy, I'm going to put this away. But that feels very nice to me. I think I proved to myself, I might not have proved it to you, but I have proved it to myself that that's going to make a great crossover rod. And I'm really looking forward to being able to flip and interchange, not necessarily with just a Euro nymph rig, but also just with the standard nymphing techniques that we would normally use here. To be honest, most of the time we're not Euro nymphing on these sections of water until we're grayling fishing. So during the summertime, it's just going to be traditional upstream nymphing techniques, and this is going to be an absolute wand for that. So a few final thoughts on these two. I think the biggest difference between these and some of the other ones that I have fished with is the sensitivity. It really feels like there is a difference in that tip section. I can really feel what's going on, but I've always steered away from rods which have got sensitive tips because I find them a bit soft in their casting actions. I don't like a rod which is too soft. I find that I struggle to throw a tight loop into wind, and I suppose maybe it's because I spend a lot of time saltwater fishing. I like to have a fairly responsive rod. Now for me, these are the perfect blend of the two. They're going to suit my casting style. I won't say they will suit everybody because no rod does. But there's a difference in these and the others I have fished with before, just because of the power blended with the sensitivity. The cosmetics are great, I love those two. I like these new Cerakoil rings. So all in all, yeah, I really like these. As always, I hope you've enjoyed spending this little afternoon's amusement down here at West Fair with me, testing out these two new rods. Very excited about them. I'm really looking forward to fishing with them this season. So the 9'2" 4-weight Ultralite LL and the 9'9" 3-weight Ultralite LL. If you are looking for some new river rods this season, then I would highly recommend you have a look at these. I hope you have found that review useful. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Maybe support us on Patreon, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.